I suppose, general civilian perspective. So.
All right.
Hey guys, I'm Junior. I run a pub just down there called the Welsh Dragon. I'm also part of Nino's cabinet as of today, I think, and I'm gonna be helping him out with some business liaison things and potentially filming a TV show to do with business, which could be pretty cool soon.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hi, Abilene Contralto. I'm a legislator and attorney in Mayor Chavez's cabinet.
I'm Carola Gamboa. I'm a mechanic. I'm just another civilian in the city.
All right.
Who's next?
Hey, back here, I'm Archibald McRae. I'm part of the cabinet. I'm press secretary, which is why I'm recording this, and also I do help out write legislation. Nice to meet you.
All right.
Yeah, I'm Shang Lu. I run the Long Stand Bar, so come and hang out sometime.
Yeah.
Who's next?
All right. Princess?
Are we all going? I thought that this was.
Yeah. No, let's introduce everybody, you know, get to know each other.
Oh, hello. I'm the people's princess, Princess Elena, Princess of Aralu and Queen of Vespucci, regions of the north, although not currently because everything's terrible and Kyle is locked away. But I do legislation for Blaine County.
Oh. Two in the back.
I'm Jamie McQueen. I run a car parts store and do a lot of mechanic work.
Oh.
Odin, do a lot of material sourcing for the material hub, so supplies Mopec for the, mechanics.
Hell yeah.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Me? I'm Sarah Ripley. I work at the Big Dog Noodle, and I like to work.
Oh, hell yeah.
Incredible. Well, Kiflam to you all. My name is Eliza Stellano.
Keflon to you, ma'am.
Yes, indeed. I am a member of New Epsilon, and we aspire to be a non-profit hoping to support the people of this great city.
Okay. The two center front in front of me.
I'm Patrick Gasso, and I work at the Strong Eatery at the food court.
Okay, hell yeah.
I guess I'm Victor. We got Victor Nunes.
Pleasure to meet you, Victor. And of course, we have the police force in the back if you want to introduce yourselves. Maxwell.
Yeah, I'm Lieutenant Maxwell, LSPD. What's up, guys?
You guys can come a little closer, you know what I mean? You guys are citizens after all.
Yeah, I was just keeping an eye on things out there, sir. Deputy Radich, BCSO. Mateo Radich.
All right.
Ugh.
Hi,
I'm Aaron.
How you doing, Aaron?
Aaron here.
All right. Okay.
Fire LSPD.
How you doing, On Fire? Watch out for her. She might feed you. You have any food, by the way, On Fire?
Of course I do. Open up.
Okay. All right. I'm ready. What about checkers on the right-hand side?
Oh, sorry.
With a cat? Awesome. Thank you. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we're going to, first off, thank you for introducing yourselves. I want to start by saying the following. As the mayor of Los Santos County, I see myself not only as the representative for the citizenry. I am the representative of the citizenry of this county. And that includes civilians, people with felonies, members of Los Santos Police Department, and all other walks of life. Obviously, there's going to be, from time to time, I'm going to be taking certain sides based on my personal opinions or whatever. But ultimately, regardless of what my personal opinions may be, I have to be considerate of everybody, right? And while my office does attempt to strive towards this, we can certainly be doing better when prompted. Let me start off by kind of going through some of the things that we've been working on the last 4 weeks, as I know getting information around can be sometimes a bit difficult. So I'm going to go through this list, and after we go through it, I'm going to open up the floor a little bit for anyone that may have questions about anything in particular. Actually, let's do this. Actually, I'm going to go through the list slowly, and if anyone has any questions about that particular topic, just go ahead and raise your hand, and we can dive into those things. And do not hesitate to ask any form of question. The only thing I would, ask you not to do is claim that you've committed a felony, because, like I said, there are law enforcement here, and don't be surprised if they have to take action. So, right off the bat, my office is expanding the cabinet. The reason for this is very simple. We have different time zones and different areas that need to be focused on, whether it's repairs, whether it's PD related stuff, whether it's things with the food court, whether it's like real estate, and all of those things. I think having someone that particularly focuses in that area is the only way to lead to success, right? And you've met some of the folks here, and if you want the full list of folks, lossantos.me has that list. But moving on from that, over the last 4 weeks, we spent about $25 million, give or take, towards city events. And whether it's folks in the crowd today or that have made use of that or may be curious about it, I want to encourage you either personally or let your friends know that we have $230 million in the county account ready to hand over to any event organizers who have an idea, be it a scavenger hunt, be it a legal race that you can set up with, hand to hand with the LSPD, whether it's a trivia event, whatever your heart's content is, our office is willing to pay for it. You need $1 million for it, we'll cut you a check. With these sort of activities, I think are something that is needed in all time zones, quite frankly. It draws a big crowd in, and it keeps the city thriving. So if you know anyone that's interested in those things, please, by all means, put in those requests. It's very easy. Once again, lossantos.me. You fill in a form, boom, boom, you get a check to your account. Obviously, you have to keep track of that spending and send us a receipt in some fashion so that we know you're not using it to buy a tuna car. But other than that, we're pretty... there's not many check boxes to get that money. The next is we are expanding MOPEC EMS repairs and PD repairs across the board. I know a lot of law enforcement have had some trouble finding mechanics around the city, and we are actively working on trying to boost repair shops further than we did in our first term. Now, for those who didn't know, when we first took office, there was legitimately one mechanic available. Material was impossible to get. And through the efforts of MOPEC, which is our county-funded material group, and through our mechanic efforts, I think when you get into the yellow pages today, even right now, there's 6 people on duty. But we want to expand that even further. So if you are a mechanic, if you are someone who's interested in becoming a mechanic, we have some efforts coming in the next week or two that are not only going to get you paid more to be actively on duty and assisting people getting their repairs, but the PD and EMS will have more places to go to get free repairs. And of the participating mechanic shops, they're going to be getting a bonus on top of it for doing those services. Now, this at, I think, a surface level sounds like whatever, right? It's like whatever. It's more money going in the pocket. It's just a repair. The way that my office looks at it is like this. I think for this city's health, for its emigration to improve, it is important for us to find ways to not only connect each other, but have us work and interface with people that we would not have otherwise run into. I mean, show me give me a show of hands. How many of you guys tend to run around with the same faces on a daily basis? Come on, let's be honest. A lot of folks. And I think this is pretty normal, right? Whether, like, even from the onset 9 months ago, I remember being a mechanic, running a mechanic shop. Who did I see on a daily basis? Mechanics. Who did I not run into? The guys running G6. We barely knew each other outside of the repairs. But I bet everyone who was running G6 mostly knew each other, and they didn't know the sanitation people, right? And I think a lot of that trend has continued on to where we are today. And so small efforts like what I'm describing right now has the potential to create some collaborations. As I watch in the back, there's a very large man being handed a food by a law enforcement officer. They may have never met before, but that is the kind of shit I want to see more of. And if my office can find ways to encourage that, it's only a good thing. Moving on to the any questions about MOPEC and the repairs, any concerns in that space? Feel free to raise your hands.
Eat the food.
Okay. Civilian flight is now operational. If you go down to LSIA today, you're going to find a new hangar that was constructed in the last week. The hangar doors are probably locked, as they're only the keys are only available to the flight instructors. But Simone Industries, at the helm of Nick Simone, has brought into the city a series of helicopters and planes, and he is now actively training new flight trainers, meaning that each and every person in this circle, including those with felonies on their record, can get flight certified. Whether you want to run a business, like travel, you want to do like, I don't know, like fucking romantic flights or whatever it is, or I don't know, you want an airplane just for fun. I very much encourage those that are interested to start thinking about getting one of those flight licenses. They're rather cheap, and the license, well, you're not gonna lose it because you got caught up like stealing a car, if that's what you're worried about. Only if you decide to do something illegal with it. So something to I heavily encourage you guys to do. Dispensaries and cultivation licenses are now out. We have issued a singular cultivation facility license and 3 dispensaries, meaning if you're looking to buy marijuana, you can now do so legally at any of those 3 dispensaries. And if you are a dispensary, you can buy up to, I think, 96 plants. You'd have to check the legislation for the exact number over at one of these cultivation spots. If you're somebody looking to get one of those licenses in the future, we're going to have more available probably in the next week and a half. Any questions or concerns about any of that so far? All right. How many of y'all have had issues with senior buns lately? The plaza. And obtaining food on the regular. All right. As of yesterday, we had legislation passed through that allows my office to purchase a stall at our discretion. We are actively going to go and seek out a stall in the hopes of purchasing it. Now, I will say that we put a lot of thought behind this. Us purchasing a stall means we're taking away a stall from a potential future desiree. For those who do not know this, those stalls are a fucking bitch to get. I don't know if any of y'all saw that Twitter photo just 2 weeks ago. There was like 50 people packed in front of a computer screen trying to slap the accept button in hopes that they'd win their bid. But there's a reality here. Those that own the stalls are not going to give them up, even if they remain closed for weeks on end. My office has no ability in order to close it down, legally or through any computer system that might exist. And the reality is people cannot eat. In the mornings, before the storm, sometimes they're all closed. And we need to keep eating. And for those who like feeding, we need to be able to keep on feeding. By purchasing a stall, we're hoping to do the following. Create a pricing system that makes our stall the more expensive one compared to the rest, so that we do not negatively affect any existing stall. And we will be closely monitoring that. I don't know what the exact food prices are, but let's say the average price or the highest price food at the stalls are like $500. We'll probably sell it for $800, right? We don't want to crush those other businesses. Secondly, the main thing we want to solve here is availability, right? If people need to eat, we need to make sure that they have a way to do so. And in doing so, what we are going to be paying those employees at those stalls a set amount of money to make sure those places are occupied. In addition to that, when they do not have customers, we are going to be chopping ingredients for the other stalls that are desperate for those ingredients, which we know is preventing them from staying open. Ma'am, you had your hand raised?
Never mind.
Oh, okay. Did I answer your question while I was yapping away?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hell yeah. Now, I know, for example, I know you work at Big Dog Noodles, and others in the crowd may have individuals that they know that are working in the food industry. Know that our office is all open ears when it comes to this. Last thing we want to do is hurt any existing businesses or existing stalls. So if it turns out that there is something that this stall is doing that is negatively affecting you, please let us know. We're not going to take it in any kind of way. We just want to make sure people are getting the food that they need. Next, the market. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have probably one of the coolest ideas that that has spawned out of this office that I think is going to be very enjoyable. Over at the Court Center, if you don't know where that is, it's off of Rockford Drive. We are currently funding a construction of a massive warehouse that we'll be able to personally furnish. Inside of that warehouse will be a massive Amazon-like facility. If you've ever been to like a Home Depot or like one of those, think about it that way, kind of like the back section. You walk in, it's a platform, kind of like a concert stage. You go up, and one of those individuals will have access to everything that you ever wanted to buy in the city, available at hand 24/7. You might be wondering, how the fuck are you going to do that? This county mall is going to be purchasing from businesses and individuals and maintaining a stock from lumber all the way up to car parts, stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you name it, available and ready for purchase. However, that next to it will be a collage of stalls that individuals can go and rent for free for an hour, the entire day, for 3 days, allowing any person in the city that needs to purchase something or actively wants to sell something have a place to do so. So if Maeve here, for example, actively sells car parts, right? And she's got a car part business over in the city, but she has to run it out of her apartment. There's no way that she can go buy a facility because real estate is completely dog shit. She doesn't want to go on the yellow pages and sell from the back of a car. She can go down to the mall, get a stall, prop up her parts stall for the next 3-4 hours. And during that time, the staff knows that no car parts will be sold except the ones that she's selling. What we're effectively doing here is creating a hub for exchanges. When you walk in, what's your name on the right in the black jacket?
Odin.
Aaron?
Odin.
Odin, if you wake up in the morning tomorrow and you're like, what the fuck am I going to do today? You go to this mall, you're going to see a bounty board. Things that either the small businesses are in need of or the mall is in need of. You can take any one of those contracts and go and fulfill it and come back and get a nice chunk of change. So it's going to create more job opportunities. On the outside of the facility, we are going to be hiring mall managers. Or no, sorry, not mall managers. Sorry, mall security. Ex-DOC, DOC off-duty, G6 workers, who not only are going to protect the mall from any incursions, but will also be responsible for moving the millions of dollars of profit that might be in the back down to Maze Bank. Finally, to top all of this off, will be a e-commerce system available on your phone to make e-commerce purchases. You need a stage 5 break. You've been looking on the yellow pages for God knows how long. You put that order in, it's going to get fulfilled probably from a small business who's, put it into our fulfillment center for us to sell. And when you wake up the next morning, you get a little text message that says box number 23, pin code 5678. You go to the mall, you open up your box with that pin code, and you got your item. So that is something that we are focusing on this month, and that legislation has just passed. Go ahead, individual with the hand up.
Yeah, it's about the place to sell stuff. Is it gonna be like the same prices, or is it gonna be like a little bit higher because they're using that place, they're renting that place?
We are never going to dictate the price that other people wish to pay. So if you as a business owner are setting a price for something for $500, then it's $500. However, the price that the county would sell at is going to be at a higher cost. Let's say 25% more. Because while we are creating availability and space, we do not want to create an atmosphere where we are monopolizing or pricing out the small businesses, which is more important. Rather, the facility is meant to encourage small businesses to work out of. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Go ahead, ma'am.
This may be a dumb question, but so you're saying there will be a warehouse, right, and the market? Will the warehouse also be selling stuff?
Yeah, so the warehouse is gonna be the mall, right? So it's like the inside of the court center will be redesigned and furnished with stalls and a like a bazaar kiosk in the back where there's plenty of storage where all the things are going to be sitting.
I see.
Yep.
Okay, I was just wondering that if it doesn't like get rid of a bunch of like a face-to-face communication, I guess.
Oh,
that makes sense.
That's a great question, and that's what we want it to be, right? So the vision kind of comes out of this. If you were to guess, how many commercial properties do you think are in Los Santos County?
10.
30.
Oh, there's a lot. I think it's probably closer to 500. Sorry, 500. 50 to 100. There's a lot of them. However, most are probably not businesses, and most probably have people, with all due respect, outside of maybe the Welsh Dragon and 3 or 4 other places, are probably closed, or someone's sitting in there and no one comes by. Because the reality is, how do you know where anything is? And we, in the last term, attempted to solve that by creating a map and a brochure, which allowed people to find where things were, but no one really used it. So by having a place where all of these businesses can come together and, you know, sell their things, I think that creates that hub atmosphere. Think of it like Senior Buns, but for everything. You know what I mean? So, sir?
Yeah, I have a question about the warehouse. So is it gonna be like owned by someone? Or is it gonna be like more part of the, you know, of the government that it's gonna be open always, or is it gonna be like is it gonna have some times where it's gonna be open and where it's gonna be closed? You know, like is it gonna be open 24/7
Well,
or
the goal
just
is
a few
going to be
hours?
the goal is going to be 24/7, right? So, everyone is going to be like people are going to be employed to work there. So, those employees would work for the facility. For the facility be owned by the county, but the workers there aren't necessarily in the government, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Any other questions around that? All right, fantastic. Next up, let me see. Right. How many of y'all are familiar with the updates to the FOIA process? Okay.
No idea.
For those who are unaware, if you are alleged to have committed a crime or are a victim of a crime or any one of those instances, we have, since the dawn of the Constitution, had the right to request of the government documents detailing the alleged charges that you're facing or reports surrounding your victimhood. That is a basic right that is not only available, has been available in the United States since God knows how long, but also a right here in San Andreas. Recently, my office alleges that inappropriately that legislation has changed, thus putting a price stamp on each and every document produced by law enforcement. I'm going to give you an example. How many of you own a gun license? Now, keep your hand up if you're a civilian. If you lose your gun multiple times and it is not properly documented and you get charged with criminal negligence of a firearm, you, lawyer, will request the reports associated to every time you had to report it, as well as the alleged crimes surrounding it, in order to defend you properly. That one incident that might have landed you the warrant may result in 15 documents needing to be produced. That is $45,000 you would owe, simply to defend yourself. We are claiming that this is complete fucking horseshit and, quite frankly, brain dead. Now, if you haven't heard of this, should you be concerned? I'd consult with your lawyer. They probably already know about it. But I can let you know that we are actively ensuring that that gets reverted. Now, I'm going to leg off to why I bring up this topic. My office has spent the last 3 months making sure that basic legislation's in place to ensure that we have the basics for making sure that our government can run, right? Food, toll laws, blah, 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 blah. These next 3 months, including the last 4 weeks, are going to be entirely focused on civil rights. That means the right of your protection as civilians, as those that may have alleged crimes put against you, or as members of law enforcement who are unfairly targeted by other authorities. That is not something my office will stand by. And if these are things that you are getting pressed against, we will make sure that we will help defend you. Now, in saying so, I will announce today that about 3 weeks ago, we found that one of the legislative authorities decided to take more power than what was granted to them by the Constitution. In doing so, legislation began to change overnight. for what we allege to be self-interest reasons. Not only is the FOIA legislation being audited and has formally been the documents submitted, but also the documents claiming that the individual police departments, the LSPD, BCSO, will be running under the marshals. The marshals can suck my dick. They work for the DOJ, not for the counties. The notion that a different authority can come and hire, fire, and tell you what to do is not only anti-democratic, not only does it limit the voice of the voting population, but it turns the government into what can best be described as a, well, I'm not going to get into those analogies, but for those who are unfamiliar with the legislation I am referencing, they're documented in the powers of the marshals. I believe it's called the Angel Act, and the powers of law enforcement. For those that take a look at the tablet inside, if you click on reports in there and you search up that legislation, take a look at the differences between what was written a month ago versus what is written now. There was no proper legislative process that was followed when those things were put into place, as the very document detailing that was an ability that the writers had has turned out to be false. The TLDR here, because I know this is a lot of like legal mumbo jumbo, is we pretty much halted the ability for the DOJ to edit legislation on a whim. The state officials, who are effectively the higher form of government, agreed with our cabinet. And we are now working with our allies in the DOJ and Blaine County and the medical staff to come to a resolution. If you are aware or are victim to legislation that is going against your rights as written in the Constitution, please do let my office know and we will look into it. In addition to that, I can promise you the following is that later this week we are passing 2 new pieces of legislation that allows our county to pay lawyers a set salary and allows them to work pro bono on behalf of Los Santos County citizens. I know it can be very expensive and difficult to get a lawyer when bad things happen. Whether you get fired without cause, whether you get shot and you're a victim of a crime, whether there's a bunch of allegations pressed against you because someone feels like you did something illegal. It's hard to get a lawyer. It's hard for lawyers to want to be lawyers. They barely get paid. I don't know if you know that. They barely get paid. So we're going to make sure they get paid well, so that if you do have a problem, you can give them a phone call and they're there to protect you. I can tell you that we are going to be working directly with the LSPD with this new association that we're labeling CLAP. And they will be working working with the PD to ensure that, let's say there is, for example, let's say Maxwell, and she's a fantastic lieutenant. I'll tell you that. Let's say she, let's say Maeve, I don't know, decides to rob a bank or something like that, right? And, which I don't think she's ever going to do. But let's say Maeve decides to rob a bank and Maxwell alleges that, she's going to charge her with like these 3 separate things. But let's say there's a difference of opinion, right? She believes she's only guilty for 2 charges. Maxwell believes she's guilty for 3. CLAP and the lawyers involved are going to be trained in arbitrating plea agreements, right? And things of that nature. My point with this is these lawyers are not going to be set up to say, hey, you have a small violation, you got a traffic citation, let's wait 3 months, right? they're going to work directly with the police and trained in a way where they're not looking to screw over the cop as much as they're not looking to screw over the client over a 3-week, you know, exercise. Does everyone get kind of where with the vibe I'm pointing at here, in terms of how these lawyers are going to be functioning?
Yes.
Okay. Good shit. Okay. I think that covers everything. Oh yeah. Tow has been increased in prices, but I'm sure you've seen that in the state announcements. And okay, easy. Holy fuck.
We love the tow changes.
Tow changes are good. I feel like I've been yapping for 30 minutes. I didn't realize our list was this long, but yeah, this is what's been going on the last 4 weeks.
Been doing a lot, yeah.
So.
Oh my god, who did the tow changes?
Myself and Pred. Yes, and Maeve. Actually, Maeve is the one who really did it, as she went out there and tried to figure out why there wasn't any tow drivers, and that's how we learned that. What we learned was that Los Santos County was never the one setting the tow prices. It was Blaine County, and that those sliders were all the way at 0 4 months ago, but nobody knew. So, until last week. So, all of that is now resolved. Okay. So, now with everything said, I wanted to open the floor here. There might have been things that I didn't cover. Is there anything that I didn't cover? Okay, easy. All right, cool. Questions, concerns. What kind of problems are you guys experiencing, whether as law enforcement, working particular jobs, whatever it may be? Ma'am?
So at the food court, there's a lot of violence and people get taken hostage a lot. And is there anything you could possibly do about that, like a guard or something?
We had at one point wanted to allow tier 3 group 6 workers to be qualified to work as mall security. And that is something we're going to revisit, since it's something we also want to deploy over at the mall. And what I mean by that is individuals that are authorized to carry weapons and operate as mall security inside of Senior Buns. Part of the reason I'm concerned about doing it at Senior Buns, but less so at the mall, is because at the mall, if someone fucks around, they're going to find out very quickly. Whereas at Senior Buns, there's like 10 different circles that operate the place. And I feel like that would only create a massive shit show. However, I'm open to ideas and suggestions.
All right, thank you so much.
Yep, absolutely. Sir, in the back.
Yeah, as a tier 3 group 6 driver for I don't know, 11 months.
Yep.
What would just going off of what you're saying, right? Because let's be real here.
Are you yelling?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, could you come just a little bit closer?
Yeah, as a group 6 driver for 11 months, not necessarily doing much with group 6 at all, just going ahead doing my tier 3 runs and maybe my ATM and then signing out for work.
Yep.
What incentive would I have as a tier 3 driver to stay at said mall to eventually be security?
You get to be a scuffed police officer with less SOPs and get to be like Paul Blart from the movie Mall Cop. You get to run into people and shit. Probably work with, I don't know, probably if Carmine wasn't a cop, I'd probably want him running the show over there. So I don't know, it'd be a bit of an experience, to be honest.
I can see that.
And you get paid well.
Do you get a Segway?
Yeah, please.
Do you get a Segway?
Do you get a Segway?
Yeah.
Honestly, if I could get one, that would be dope.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I'll entertain the idea.
Maybe you guys could get little mopeds or something. Maybe.
Yeah. So the reality is, look, I've sat in the back of PD cars quite a bit over the last 4 weeks or 4 months, sorry. And I know that these guys deal with literally call after call after call after call. And the last thing I would want is the mall, which I'm hoping is very active, right? Not just with people buying and selling, hanging out, music events, whatever the fuck it is. I know I would not want that. I think that the mall being at most a controlled shit show is something that I'd be okay with. And I'm going to describe what I mean by that exactly, right? If people are fucking beating each other up because they got some personal beef or whatever, that's whatever, right? I would not want... Let me rephrase all of this. I would want what's happening at the mall to be as non-violent as possible, with enough room for some fuckery, but to an extent that would not cause law enforcement to get pulled off of all the other shit they got to deal with to go up there and deal with it. So I'd want that mall security to have enough ability to keep things somewhat tame and keep those problems contained away from making it a headache for the PD that's already extremely overworked. I know that's rather a vague description, but this is one of those, there's no easy way to explain what I'm thinking type things. But, does that answer your question?
Should be fat, not soft.
I'd say it does. Yeah, I'd say it does.
Okay, easy.
I'd entertain the idea.
All right, easy. All right, questions, concerns, problems you guys are having? Go ahead, ma'am.
Kiflam, Mr. Mayor, Eliza Stellano with New Epsilon.
Pleasure to meet you.
First off, I want to express my great enthusiasm that this warehouse will be up off of Rockford, as the New Epsilon Center is in that area, and it will be quite a delight to see more commerce and footwork in that area.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhat along the lines of what you were speaking on in regards to civil rights, I am certain yourself and countless others here at this town hall today have seen the improvised, unhoused encampments that have become quite present throughout the city. Of course, I do not point that out to I do not point that out to make any statement on any shortcomings of your cabinet by any means. Actually, the opposite.
Yeah.
I am curious as to what, if any, plans you may have to help support the less fortunate, the suffering, the misguided of the city.
That is a fantastic question, and thank you so much for asking it. As you know, Mayor Kyle Pred was targeted by individuals that lost an election. And as a consequence of that, he had a warrant issued for him immediately as he stepped off the podium. And a week later, had a bunch of bullshit charges pressed on him. And while obviously due process needs to take place, 4 weeks have gone by, and that poor man has had his hands shackled down. In fact, we have spent roughly the last 3 weeks in a state where legislation has been on pause. Now, Los Santos County has been able to avoid the brunt of that since my last term. We passed the majority of what we needed to get our work done. About 25 pieces of legislation. Pred has not been able to pass a singular thing due to him being effectively shackled down. Have a looming having looming set of charges over his head. His money, the county money, being locked down. If I was a resident of Blaine County, I would be scared. I'd be questioning what is going to happen in my county. Seeing my mayor on the news. Allegations. being thrown his way. As a consequence of that, I understand immigration and refugees from Blaine County had made their way down to the city. And through the SEMA Act, which we passed about 6 weeks back, we have been providing them with food, water, shelter, and we hope that once the court case ends, and we hope to see our ally, Mr. Mayor Pred, found not guilty, that the residents of Blaine County that found refuge down here may once again feel safe to go back up north. I know some of them are also scared as for some reason we keep hearing these complaints. You know, my house is being broken into. People are selling drugs around the corner. Where are the cops? And while we recognize that, you know, all the crime happens in the city, we're bored. We're going to poach all the LSPD cops. And even though we're bleeding the Blaine County budget dry and not giving a fuck, and we're going to come down here and start gang wars and get in marriages with people on Forum Drive and all this kind of bullshit. You know, we understand that, you know, all these scared individuals, hopefully with Pred's not guilty plea, things can start looking better up there and people feeling safer going back up north. So does that answer your question?
Oh, exceedingly so. I appreciate that you didn't resort to fear mongering as many other politicians would.
Of course, of course. All right. Any other questions, including law enforcement, if you have any? All right, fantastic. Oh yes, sir.
What's the one? Are there any plans to get more properties onto the
Wait,
market?
could you yell, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just wondering, does the mayor's office have any plans to get more properties onto the market again?
That
Everything
is
bought up.
that is a state thing. Yeah. So the state sort of conducts decision making on opening any vacant properties and making them available to the public. Yep. So we'd love to see more, but unfortunately most of that is out of our hands. The previous conversation actually reminded me, there is another piece of legislation that is that we are looking to pass. It's called the Rat Act. It is a piece of legislation that once finalized will be enforcing a policy in which active law enforcement operating in Los Santos County must disclose any relationships they have with any gang-affiliated members who may have attempted murder of an LEO on their record. They may also be prevented from actively policing down in Los Santos County. We believe that not only does such actions compromise the integrity of law enforcement, but it puts people in danger, especially if there is a belief that you may be affiliated with a rival gang. And it opens up some legal questions as to if a cop is dating a member of, let's say, the Lean Boys, and the Lean Boys got in a shootout, does that officer also get gang-related shooting? I don't know. But I don't know. So why even ask the question? Let's just make it illegal. Any other questions?
Yeah, I got one. So thank you, Mayor Nino, for for raising the pay. We're working with Pred about the tow pay. Thank you very much for that.
Absolutely.
I one thing though, and I think you were witness to something earlier. You're probably aware that we get a lot of threats on us while we're doing our job. Is there any way that you'll like pass like some law that would make it like, double fine if they hurt us or something like that, like to protect us or something? You have any ideas on that?
I do not believe that crime can be fully thwarted. I think it is something that we can wish for, but it's just the reality is that more crime takes place than anyone can respond to. Increasing fines, I don't think resolves any of it. I think I have a long-standing. I've been a lawyer for like 25 years. Increases of fines and increases of times does nothing more than increase the amount of cop-related shootings. Like, it's always been the case. It's copium to think otherwise. What I think we can do, and we are working on, is that actually with Maxwell, we're going to be working on making sure that tow people that are working with the PD are both that tow operator as well as the officer calling it in is getting a bonus check. So while we cannot, will money make you feel better?
Well, yes.
Okay, perfect. So that's how we're looking to solve it. We're going to throw money at that bitch.
Okay.
All right.
I like that.
All right. Any more questions, concerns? Anything. You can ask whatever you want, even if it's controversial. Trust me, I'm a controversial guy. I like them.
I missed 10 months ago being able to walk up to a dog or a cat and being able to pet it. When will the government let me pet dogs again, Nino?
That is a great question. We have been attempting to import dogs and cats into the city, but for some reason the cargo ship that we keep purchasing the dogs and cats on continues to get attacked, and we have yet to get a singular live animal onto the shores of San Andreas. We are actively conducting trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So hopefully soon. Sir in the back.
Yeah, for me, being the money-driven person that I am, I'm curious, as G6 worker, you trying to increase pay anytime soon, dog? There ain't many of us left.
G6 has been maxed out for
Oh shit! All right,
like
cool.
2 months. Yep.
I didn't know that. All
Yep.
right.
Yeah, no one does it. I don't think G6 is a money thing. I think G6 is people that wanted money with G6, got it a long time ago, and there's probably you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's not the issue. It's a culture thing, right? There used to be a culture around G6 that no longer exists.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
All good.
With G6, there is a small possibility, and this is just me speculating, so don't take this as gospel. But with Tow, our issue was that we thought we had control of the pay because, the headquarters was here in Los Santos, whereas drop-off locations were
I saw
what was
something with
determining pay,
AMS.
and Blaine County needed to change its sliders.
Oh, was
to
it a
help with that.
text?
I know that you can sometimes do drop-offs and stuff up in Blaine County. It may be worth having a conversation with Fred to see if his sliders can be changed at all. If you think that G6 pay is an issue.
Oh, that is true. Yes, you're right. Maves is 100% right about that. Like, I think we have the... yeah, I think we should experiment.
Yeah, we can take a look at that.
All right.
All right, cool.
Go ahead.
Some questions.
So years ago, we used to have a whole lot more little knickknacks and doodads that we could walk around with and mess around with, that add whimsy to life. Things like megaphones or like lawn chairs that we could whip out. Is there any possibility that when we do have our Amazon type warehouse up and running, that maybe we could get shipments of like some of those types of things back in?
I am trying to be extremely considerate with the importation company and construction company. So I am definitely open to ideas and recommendations, especially if small. And if I'm able to nudge the best of those ideas in whatever conversations I have, I can do so, but I don't want to promise anything along those lines, as it may be unnecessary strain for those working on Project 2030. Yep. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. Yeah. It
Okay.
answers it.
Yep. Easy. Go ahead, ma'am. Corolla.
When it comes to repairs, what was mentioned before for mechanics, for EMS and PD, will that be extended to other? How can I explain this? Shared vehicles
Oh.
of PD?
Oh.
Or has a decision been made on that yet?
No, not really. So the reason that there's kind of a big political component to
Yes,
that.
I didn't know if it had been solved or not.
Yeah. Unauthorized individuals taking vehicles that do not belong to their department in an effort to save money due to them barely making money, due to them having 3 times as many cops as necessary for the county. As a consequence, to prevent cops from committing fraud, we've had to limit it to personal vehicles.
Of course.
Yep. But we are looking into offering upgrades and vehicle purchases for members of Los Santos Police Department. It just hasn't. It's kind of like in the middle of this stack right now. So, all right. Any other questions, concerns? All right. Oh yeah. Well, thank you so much for attending. This was great. We're going to try to do this a little bit more often, so that we don't end up with, I think this is like an hour long, I think. We'll try to do this like every 2 weeks. So stay tuned. We will put out state announcements and whatnot. But all said and done, if you ever have any problems, concerns, questions, search for Mayor in the yellow pages, and you'll probably see myself or any one of the members of my staff, and we'll try to assist you as best as possible. We're virtually here 24/7. Someone in the staff is usually awake. AU time, maybe not so much, but close to 24/7. But thank you so much for attending. We appreciate it. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Of course, thank you, Kiflam.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.